I am happy to have this month in the bag. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always, guys, I am Andrew, and today I have got my November 2021 wrap-up for you, but before we get to that wrap-up, make sure you're liking and subscribing, hitting that bell notification, so you can get regular updates for when I put out new content. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that said, guys, this has been kind of a hectic reading month for me. I've kind of just been all over the place. I've been a little bit slumpy, and then I've just been frenzied, or I've just been, reading some really heavy-hitting books. Guys, I started the month by finishing out Stephen King's It. If you know anything about this book, it is intense. I had a great discussion on Stephen King's It with Sarah Reeds and Baron from Your Brain on Books. I'll go ahead and link that up in the cards. It was a fantastic gush fest. We absolutely loved this book. And from there, it was just such a heavy book that I kind of slumped for a little bit after that. I also, didn't have, I had a lot of great books that I read, and then I had some not so great ones, or just some kind of meh books. So let's kind of get the bad and the meh kind of out of the way. And of course I have one DNF. As you guys know, I kind of did a help kind of video this month to help me select a book because I was feeling a little bit slumpy, like I said. And I just did not think DNF Redemption was a good move this month. Specifically because the winner of this month's DNF Redemption was the Dragon Republic. Guys, that ended up being an instant DNF for me. I couldn't do it. As soon as I started the book, Ren just got on my nerves. I just don't vibe with that protagonist. And I can't read that kind of character. At least not when I was in that kind of mood. Will I try it again? I honestly don't know, guys. I don't think the Poppy War is for me. I think I'm officially putting the Poppy War to bed. I just don't think that I can vibe with a character like Ren. So there was one DNF. That was kind of towards the end of the month. Then I kind of had some 3 and 4 star reads. Some of the 4 stars were disappointing because I anticipated them being 5-star reads, and others were lower than I anticipated them to be. So one of the 3 stars was Imagica by Clive Barker. And it was a great book. It was an intense read. There was a review from my good friend Baron, who I mentioned earlier, from Your Brain on Books. I'll go ahead and link his up in the cards because he does a really good job describing Imagica. Basically, I joined his Discord's read-along for Imagica this month, so I'm going to go ahead and link his review up there. I'm not going to be doing a dedicated review because I've got such complicated thoughts on this book. It was very intense. It was hypersexual. And so at times, I felt like it was just too much. And so I just, and overall ended up hurting my enjoyment of that book. So I'm not going to be doing a dedicated review for Imagica, but I definitely think you should check out Baron's. I also, my patrons picked The Atlantis Gene by A.G. Riddle for me to read. And this was supposed to be how do I describe this book? It was supposed to be a thriller, but it threw everything in there, including the kitchen sink, and it was too much that it had 114 chapters or more, and it was a 300 to 400 page book. It was very, very fast paced, but at the same time, it felt rushed, and it just felt so busy. And while it does do a good job kind of pulling all those threads together to make a cohesive story at the end, it just wasn't for me. And so, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be continuing that series either. What was another one? Salute the Dark was another 3-star read. These are all 3-star reads that I'm talking about right now. Salute the Dark was a very, very interesting. Overall, I just feel it feels like a course correction or a soft reset of the series at the end of this series, at the end of this particular arc of Shadows of the Apt. And so it kind of left kind of a bitter taste in my mouth. There's not a whole lot of character growth. There's the one storyline that I did feel was super, super interesting. We only got a couple chapters of that, And so overall, it just kind of fell flat for me. I had some other issues, some other gripes here. I may do a dedicated first arc review. I'm still kind of sitting here and marinating in my thoughts on Salute the Dark. So, unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be continuing with that series. Let's go into my 4-star reads. Starting off, I did another Stephen King. I was feeling kind of slumpy and I wanted to shake it up a little bit. So I decided to do the Stephen King hard case books. One of those ended up being like a 4-star read, and that's going to be the Colorado Kid. And I had watched Haven, the TV show, like a couple of years ago, which my good friend Jake the Bookish Drummer informed me was a mix of like Tommyknockers takes place in Haven. And so I realized that the show Haven is a mix of the Colorado Kid and Tommyknockers. And this was a decent read. It wasn't anything spectacular. Like, at no point was I was just like, I don't enjoy this. So it was a 4-star. It was very good. It was nothing mind-blowing, but overall I enjoyed the experience of the Colorado Kid. All right. Then I just finished this today. And this was about like a 4.25 read. Like, I really enjoyed this. It just suffers from not being the first book. That's Anthony Ryan's Tower Lord. This is the second book, and this is Raven's Shadow. There's so many Raven series out there. I always have to look at the spine to make sure I'm talking about the correct book. Tower Lord is very good. It kind of goes multi-POV and kind of spreads out across the realm. And so it's got a lot going on. At some points, I'm just kind of like, okay. I did an immersion read on this, and I will say I don't think the narrator does a good job delivering this story. He delivers everything in a very flat monotone, so while he's got a nice voice, he doesn't deliver a good performance. This is one I do not suggest you listen to the audiobook for. It is very much intended to be read, and I think, honestly, if I hadn't listened to the audiobook as well, it would have probably gotten another, like, 1/4 star. So this is probably actually a 4.5 star read for me, because I did unfortunately do both the physical read and the audio at the same time. It kind of lost something in translation there. So do yourself a favor, don't listen to the audio in this one. Go ahead and pick it up on physical copy, because frankly, a lot of people said, oh, Tower Lord's just not as good as Bloodsong. Well, no, it's not as good as Bloodsong. There are very few books I've read this year that are as good as Bloodsong. But it's still a really, really enjoyable read. I just feel like the audio does a disservice to the series as a whole. And this upsets me. This is one of the ones that I was predicting to be another 5-star. Coming off of Hod King was just absolutely amazing. Arm of the Sphinx was absolutely amazing. I felt like the series took a step back here in The Fall of Babel. The start of this book, like the first 100 pages, I just wasn't really pulled in. I didn't really care. And then, like, the last 100 pages felt very much like a cop-out. It felt like Josiah Bancroft was trying to tie it up super well. I didn't like it. It felt kind of like, I don't know how to resolve it, so this is what I'm going to do. And so for that reason, like, everything in the reason this is such a high star, like, realistically, this should have been 3 stars, but everything in here is like 4.5, 5 stars. Just the beginning and the end don't work for me. And so I'm going to give it a 4 stars. But unfortunately, I'm not satisfied. I didn't get a cathartic ending for the end of this series. I just didn't overall enjoy it. Now, let's get on to my amazing reads. Guys, these ones just absolutely blew me away. And for this reason, I'm going to call this month a success. Stephen King's Later. I said I mentioned that I had read The Hard Case Crimes by Stephen King. Guys, Later, this is a delight. I've actually got a dedicated review for this coming out. You can definitely look forward to. This was 5 stars, guys. Like, this was Stephen King, peak Stephen King. Like, I saw some reviews kind of earlier this year where people were like, oh yeah, Later's pretty good. Later is amazing. Like, I absolutely loved it. I loved it. And then if you saw my non-spoiler batch review for Cradle, you know I read Reaper. This is very much, I think this was like one of the first books I read this month. And I am so excited. I am planning on doing a spoiler-filled just gush fest with Patrick Leo. And guys, like, I'm speechless with how much I love Cradle. I'm kind of sad that I'm all caught up and that I can't just dive right into the next Cradle book, because Reaper like ends on such a strong cliffhanger where I'm just like, I need to know where we're going next. And so hopefully Will White can maintain his one book every 6 months, and I don't have to wait too god-awful long to finish this absolute treasure of a progression fantasy series. Guys, I love Cradle. If you haven't read Cradle, do yourself a favor. Pick it up. You can wait for a deal. He is doing deals on his books all the time. And so, I mean, I can't highly recommend Cradle enough. Another 5-star read is Snuff. This is the 8th book in the City Watch collection of Discworld. Guys, if this had to be the last City Watch book, fine. Like, I'm okay with it, because this is probably top 3 City Watch. Like, Night Watch was really good, and Guards was amazing. I mean, Feet of Clay was also great. But Snuff ends the City Watch collection on just such a high note. Like, guys, I loved everything about this. This was a delight. I am planning on just doing a Gushfest video review for the City Watch collection on why you should read this. So you can look forward to that. Guys, I don't want to talk a whole lot about this, but this is just Sam Bimes at his best. This is probably one of the highlights of the month. I mean, it's in the 5-star category, so I just had so much fun. So much fun. Another, I go from 4.5 to 5 on this, depending on the day and depending on like who I'm talking to about it. It was a very thought-provoking book, and for that reason, we're going to do A Shadow in Summer by Daniel Abraham. I am going to be doing a live discussion in December, probably middle of the month, with Philip Chase, Sarah Reed, Nico from Nico's Book Reviews, and of course we got to have the Long Price Quartet Prophet in there. This term has been coined by Philip Chase, and that is Alan from the Library of Alexandria. That's right, he is the prophet. He is spreading the good word. And literally the reason why I kind of flip-flop on this physical copy, is bind up, is garbage. I don't like the way it's made. Literally, I was turning a book and like a page just came out. And also, like, the text is kind of, it's not going to do it for the camera right now, but like, I'd just be reading it. The ink is light reflective, and I don't like that because it kind of hurt my eyes and made me a little cranky. So I've actually purchased the UK Orbit editions of these to kind of finish out the read-along, and so I'm getting those from Book Depository. The book and story itself is fantastic. This is character-driven fantasy at its best, I think. Literally, it's very nuanced. It's got deep themes. I cannot wait to do the spoiler discussion for this. I am hosting the first book, and then we're going to kind of rotate through the channels as we progress through the fantasy. I think Nico's hosting the second book, which is A Betrayal in Winter. That said, guys, I have a lot of great thoughts to share with you coming up this month for Long Price Quartet. All right, and then we've got 2 more books. So the Patron buddy read, and I'm going to air quotes buddy read because everybody voted for this. I think they just wanted me to read it. And the people who kind of had enough pull to get me to read it all voted for it because they knew I kind of wanted to read it. Because, like, I think one other person ended up joining me for this Patron buddy read, which is fine. I had a fantastic time reading this. And that's going to be Book 1 of the Lotlands, The Grey Bastards. Guys, like, I thought I had this book figured out. And then as I'm reading it, like, I was like, oh, yeah, I know what's going on. Because it's first-person POV. And this is kind of like Sons of Anarchy, and it's kind of raunchy, and I was just like, it's one of those raunchy fantasy books. I hit like 40-50%, and it just flipped on a dime. Like, I didn't see it coming, and the later half of this book, guys, just blew me away. Because it's one of those ones where it's like, you thought you knew what was going on. Psych! Guess again! Guys, I didn't see it coming. I really enjoyed it. I am reading book 2 of the Lotlands in December. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share my thoughts with you because I've got a dedicated review for that book coming up here soon. And then to close out the month, because I've still got about 3 or 4 days at the time of recording, I was going to read Dune Messiah because I conquered the TBR and I had a little extra room, or not Dune Messiah, Children of Dune. And I was like, you know what? Like, all of a sudden it popped into my head. And I was just like, You want sci-fi, but you don't want to read Dune right now. What you actually want, my brain says to me, is you want to read Abaddon's Gate. And so that is book 3 of The Expanse. I had this slated for January, but for some reason I got an Expanse hankering. I don't know why. So I am going to be reading this to close out the month. So I haven't started it yet, but I've still got 4 or 5 days to read this. Hopefully I will get it done and I can get you some thoughts on it. That said, guys, that is everything that I am reading and or read in the month of November 2021. Let me know in the comments down below how your reading month went. With the holidays, did you experience any sort of slumps? Tell me your highs, tell me your lows. I just want to have a great old discussion in the comment section down below. If you want to chat on a more regular basis, go ahead and check the description for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord. We're an ever-growing community, and we would absolutely love to have you there. Or if you want to support the channel on a more regular basis, you can go ahead and sign up for the Patreon. I've got the link in the description down below as well. That said, guys, till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.